She checked her phone again. Not for the time, but for the notification that still hadn't come. It was already past 9. The candles had melted into little wax puddles on the kitchen counter, and the single slice of cake sat untouched beside a plastic fork. She had bought it herself, same red velvet as every year, because that's what he used to bring home after work. The candles were a formality now, just something to do with her hands while the minutes ticked by. Her mother had called, her best friend sent a voice note, her coworker left cupcakes on her desk, but not him. Not the man who once told every restaurant server within earshot, "It's her birthday today," just so she'd get a free scoop of ice cream and some attention. The man who used to say, "You'll always be my first girl." She stared at her screen, the empty chat thread blinking like a dare. The last text from him was over a week ago. It was a photo of his little ones on their first day of school. She had double-tapped it. No reply. She opened Instagram, scrolled past happy couples, babies in bathtubs, and long captions about healing, then paused. He had posted a family dinner, a cake, a big one. Sparklers lit, the whole table smiling, celebrating life with the ones who matter most, the caption said. Her father. Her father had written that. Her thumb hovered over the screen for a long second. Then she closed the app, walked over to her tiny 2-person table, and took a photo of her own slice. Just the plate. Just the crumbs. A little sad, a little elegant. She posted it without filters. Caption: "Not everyone who shares your blood knows how to show up." She turned her phone face down after that, washed her plate, wiped the counter, let the day slip quietly into the past like it had never happened at all. But under the surface, something cold and metallic settled. Not rage, not grief, just truth. Something that had always been there, but now had shape, and words, and proof. He didn't forget her birthday. He just chose not to remember. She remembered the smell of takeout in the passenger seat. Orange chicken, teriyaki beef, a bag of fortune cookies rolling around in the back. Her legs used to dangle off the edge of the seat, too short to reach the floor, swinging back and forth as she talked about cartoons and school projects and the weird dream she had where her math teacher was a superhero. Her dad would nod along, one hand on the wheel, the other elbow propped against the window. Sometimes he'd laugh. Really laugh. The kind of laugh that told her she was safe. Important. Heard. There were sleepovers at his place on weekends. Microwave popcorn, superhero movies, mismatched sheets on the couch. He'd braid her hair. Badly. But she never corrected him. He tried. That mattered. She'd fall asleep with his hoodie wrapped around her shoulders and his voice still echoing in the kitchen as he talked on the phone about work or bills or how fast she was growing. It was them. Just them. Until it wasn't. It happened slowly. Not like a cut, more like a leak. At first, it was the way he ended phone calls earlier than usual. "Sorry, kiddo, gotta run." Then it was the missed school recital. Then 2 weekends skipped in a row, then 3, then 4, he sent her a text instead. "Hope you crushed it, superstar." She showed the message to her mom with a fake smile and read it twice, trying to make it feel fuller than it was. He met someone. She was nice, her mom said. Clean house, 2 kids of her own. When they met, the woman smiled too wide, like she was trying to impress her, like she was already planning how to fit her into their family photos. After that, the time disappeared. The Friday pickups got rarer, the Saturday calls turned into quick check-ins, the inside jokes faded. She started bringing a book with her on the rare visits just in case, something to hold in her lap when his attention drifted to the baby in the high chair or the soccer schedule on the fridge. One day she asked if he was still coming to her science fair. He looked up from his phone and said, "Oh shoot, that's this weekend?" She stopped asking after that. Her voice got smaller in those rooms. She stopped competing with the noise, with the giggling toddlers, with the new life that moved around her like she was furniture. Someone forgot to move out. She said less. Stayed polite. Ate whatever they served. Waited until she got home to cry. The years blurred after that. Her shoes got bigger. Her heart got quieter. She learned how to smile with her mouth and not her eyes. She didn't blame him, not directly. But the version of her that used to tell him everything, that girl had packed up long ago. And by the time her birthday stopped mattering to him, the ache wasn't new. It was just louder. The first photo is from a backyard barbecue. He is standing behind a grill, arms around the youngest, a blonde toddler holding a ketchup bottle like a trophy. Grill master and his crew, the caption says. Comments pile underneath, people laughing, hearting, clapping. One reads, "You're such a great dad." That one sticks. She scrolls further. Another post. Him at a school play, the older stepson in a paper crown, hands clasped, caught mid-song. Her father's caption, couldn't be prouder to watch my boy shine. There's a tag to the school, a thank you to the teachers, another flood of likes, another flood of people who don't know. She closes the app, reopens it. This time she goes to his tagged photos. There are more, family dinners, beach vacations, matching t-shirts. One where they are all in costume for Halloween. He is a pirate, his wife a mermaid, the two kids dressed as jellyfish. He's smiling like joy was simple, like love was clean. But nowhere, in any of it, is she. She stares at the screen long enough for it to go dim, then taps it again, pulls up her camera roll, finds the photo from last year, her sitting on the floor next to a cake she baked herself, frosting uneven. Just one candle, no gifts. She had smiled then too, just to see what it would look like. Now she sees it was grief dressed as gratitude. She screenshots everything. The captions, the comments, the evidence of his curated fatherhood. Then she opens Twitter, drafts a thread. Not to start a fight. Not to ruin anything. Just to say it out loud for once. My dad forgot my birthday again today, which would be fine if this wasn't a pattern, if I wasn't used to it, if I didn't just scroll through pictures of him celebrating everyone else but me. She keeps typing, he used to call me his world, then he got a new one. There is no rage in her words, only stillness, like the calm just before a glass tips over. I'm not posting this to get sympathy. I just want someone to know what it's like when the man who raised you starts pretending you are just an old chapter in a life he rewrote without telling you. The cursor blinks. Waiting. She reads it back. There are no lies in the thread, no exaggerations, just years of silence translated into sentences. She adds one more line. Some people celebrate fatherhood like it's a costume. Some of us are just here to remind you that we saw when you took it off. She doesn't post it, not yet. But she saves the draft, and in doing so, lets herself breathe in a new way. It is not the kind of rage that burns houses. It is the kind that rebuilds boundaries. Quietly, permanently. She stared at the blue button for a long time, her thumb hovered, twitching slightly, then pulled away again. It wasn't hesitation, not fear. It was the weight of knowing that once she said it, once she pressed it, the silence would be over. She would not be able to tuck it back in. And that was exactly the point. She tapped post. The thread started simply, no frills, no theatrics. Since my father forgot my birthday today, let me tell you who he really is. She didn't scream in the text, didn't swear, didn't beg for pity. She listed things plainly, bullet points of absence, lines like punches with open palms. He missed my middle school graduation because he lost track of time. He called me ungrateful when I cried after he forgot my name was left off the family Christmas card. He told me I was too emotional when I said I felt replaced. Screenshots followed. A text from him months ago, can't make it this weekend, baby has a fever. Another, can we reschedule your visit? The boys have soccer. Then one from 2 years ago, do you really need me to show up to everything? You're not 5. She added no commentary. Just let them sit there, unedited. The next tweet in the thread, I'm not writing this to cancel anyone. I'm writing this because some of us grow up believing we're too sensitive, too needy, too dramatic, when really we were just too invisible for someone to bother showing up. By midnight, the post had 300 likes. Then 1,000. Then 10. People began quote tweeting it, replying with stories of their own. Strangers with different fathers, different languages, different wounds, but the same ache, the ache of being quietly forgotten by the person who was supposed to frame the world around you and hold it steady. A woman replied, thank you for saying what I've never had the words to say. A man said, your story is mine. I thought I was alone in this. Someone created a hashtag forgotten but not gone. By morning, the thread had hit trending, a blog picked it up, then a parenting podcast, then someone asked if she'd be open to being interviewed. She didn't reply to those yet. She just scrolled. Read. Sat on her bed in an oversized hoodie with the curtains still drawn and a coffee gone cold on the windowsill. Her phone buzzed again. It was a message from a girl she had known back in high school. They had not spoken in years. It read, I just saw your thread. Your dad taught our health class 1 year. He told us his daughter was too busy to come visit. I never knew. I'm sorry. She stared at that one the longest. Not because it hurt, because it confirmed everything. The lie wasn't just in her family. It was everywhere, carried in smiles, in quiet erasures, in proud dad speeches that skipped the parts that did not glitter. But now it glittered, all of it. The truth was loud, and it sounded like healing. The group chat name used to be FamBam4, but it always felt like a lie, mostly birthday emojis and bad chain texts from older relatives. It had been quiet for weeks. Then suddenly, it was on fire. Messages rolled in at once. Her aunt from Chicago, "What is this about? You really had to air family business?" Another cousin, "I had no idea." I'm sorry if you ever felt like that. Then her father's wife chimed in, full tilt. "This is disgusting. You're humiliating your father for clout? Grow up." That one came with a string of exclamation marks. No punctuation, all heat. She didn't respond. Not to any of them. She watched the bubbles appear and disappear as people debated each other in real time. One cousin said, "She's always been respectful. Maybe this was her last straw." Another just wrote, "Not my circus." A few old school relatives left the chat entirely. No explanation. Just exits. Quiet door closes. Her mom called that evening, voice slow and careful, like someone handling something fragile. "You okay?" she asked. That was all. No judgment, no questions, just permission to breathe. She walked into the kitchen, barefoot, still in pajamas, opened a drawer, and pulled out a spoon. She didn't need food, just something to hold. The screen of her phone was still lit, a single new message blinking at the top. It was from him. "Why are you doing this?" No question mark. Just that. She didn't open it, didn't reply. She locked the phone and put it face down on the table. Let the words sit there like something spoiled. Let him feel the echo of everything he had made her feel. Ignored, unanswered, too late. The old her would have written back, would have explained her pain so thoroughly it would sound like an apology, would have begged him to see her, to at least understand. But this version of her? This version knew that silence could be a full sentence. That not answering was sometimes the most powerful answer there was. Her best friend came over that night with Thai food and a bottle of wine. They didn't talk about it much, just watched a movie with too many explosions and not enough plot. Every so often, her friend would squeeze her hand without looking, just to say, "I'm here," just to remind her that she still belonged to something. Someone. When she checked Twitter again later, someone had turned her last sentence into an illustration. "The silence is mine now." Written in cursive over a girl sitting alone on a hill, eyes closed, wind in her hair. It had 10,000 shares. She screenshotted it, saved it, not to post, just to keep. Proof that her story was no longer trapped in her throat. It had become something bigger. Something that finally spoke back. The podcast studio smelled like new carpet and lemon cleaner. There was a glass of water waiting at her seat, a soft pair of headphones draped over the mic stand, and a producer who nodded to her like he already knew her. She wasn't sure why she said yes. Maybe it was curiosity. Maybe it was that strange ache in her chest that still hadn't gone away, even after the thread went viral, even after the apology that never came. The host was warm, older, someone with tired eyes and a velvet voice. He didn't ask for drama, he asked for truth, for the story underneath the thread. For the version that wasn't measured in likes. She took a breath and let it out slow. "It started with silence," she said, "not the kind you notice, the kind you grow around." She told him about the missed birthdays, about how he used to call her his world, and then made her orbit around his new life without ever being invited in. She didn't cry. Not because it didn't hurt, but because she'd done all the crying already. Now there was just clarity and air. When the episode dropped, her inbox transformed. Hundreds, then thousands. Stories from women, men, teenagers, grandparents, all of them saying, "I know this pain." Some with entire paragraphs. Others with just one line, "Me too." One person wrote, "I thought I was crazy. You made me feel sane." Another said, "I haven't talked to my father in 10 years. I thought it was just me." She spent 2 days reading them, heart pounding, mouth dry. The weight of shared grief was something she hadn't prepared for, but it didn't scare her. It steadied her. She went to the bookstore and bought a new journal, the expensive kind, thick paper, stitched binding. She started writing at night again, not for the internet, not for an audience, just for her. Sometimes it was a line, sometimes a list. Once she wrote, Forgiveness doesn't mean return, it means release. She circled that one, twice. She noticed her breath more, the way it felt to sit on her balcony in the morning, coffee warm in her hands, sun reaching through the railing. The way silence felt different now, less like punishment, more like peace. She wasn't proud of the pain, but she was proud she survived it, proud she didn't swallow it for the sake of looking put together, proud she didn't bury it to protect someone who forgot to protect her. There were offers coming in now, panels, interviews. A publisher emailed her with the subject line, "Have you thought about a book?" She wasn't sure yet. All she knew was that her story had finally stopped whispering. It had found its voice. And now, so had she. The table stretched beneath soft string lights, set carefully with mismatched plates and gold-rimmed glasses that clinked gently in the breeze. A playlist she made herself hummed through the open windows, jazz and soul and little bursts of laughter caught in between tracks. There were candles this time, real ones, not the ones you light alone just to blow out in silence. And there were people who showed up. Her best friend was arranging the last few chairs while someone else poured wine, already half laughing at a joke that had not even landed yet. Someone had brought flowers, someone else a hand-drawn card. She didn't need anything extravagant, just this. This room, these faces, these hands, holding hers as the night slowly unfolded like a story with no tension, no edge, just warmth. The cake sat at the center of the table, whole, uncut, frosted with her favorite shade of deep plum, piped neatly around the edges with little golden stars. It had her name on it this time, all of it. Spelled right. No candle wax strips, no uneven slice missing because she gave up waiting for someone else to care. She looked around the room and saw not just her friends, but proof. Proof that healing was not always loud or quick or wrapped in apologies. Sometimes it looked like a second slice of cake and no pressure to smile. Sometimes it looked like turning off your phone without fear that no one would reach out. This was her first birthday without waiting, without disappointment tucked behind a brave face, no forced grace, no pretending, just presence, just peace. She stood to make a toast, but the words caught in her throat for a second. Not from pain, from fullness. The kind that grows when you realize you are no longer trying to fill the silence with people who choose not to call. "I used to think birthdays were for proving something," she said finally. "That I had people, that I was seen. But now, I get it. They're just for being, for breathing, for choosing who gets to sit at your table." Everyone raised a glass. They didn't cheer too loudly, just smiled, soft and certain. Later, when the candles were blown out, there were no wishes whispered into smoke. She didn't need them. Everything she wanted, she had already started building the moment she stopped asking for permission to be celebrated. She collected the plates, barefoot on the kitchen tile, laughter still echoing from the dining room. Her phone buzzed on the counter. Not from him, not this time. It was a message from someone who had listened to her podcast that morning. "Thank you," it read. "You made me feel seen." She smiled, closed the app, and slid her phone into the drawer. The night stretched on. And this time, no part of it was missing.